Hi everyone, it's Trading Mythbusters, and today I'm going to show you how I built an AI trading agent with OpenClaw that worked while I was asleep. But the most interesting part is not that it wrote code. The really powerful part is that the agent created trading strategies, tested them, and read the backtest results, found what was wrong, and then improved the next version based on its own mistakes. As you can see here, its results. So every new iteration was not random. The agent was learning from previous results: bad drawdown, weak profit, poor win rate, too few trades, unstable performance, and then it used that feedback to rewrite the strategy and make the next version better. In total, I generated about 100 strategies and 800 separate backtests across Binance futures, crypto markets, US stocks, and CME futures. You can see how many results there are. I gave it different strategy directions like momentum, trend following, mean reversion, DCA, Fibonacci, and other ideas, and I let it run 24/7 like a real autonomous quant researcher. In this video I'll show you the full workflow: OpenClaw, Freqtrade, the agent logic, how it analyzes logs, how it improves itself, and finally the table with the best performing strategies it discovered. But this is where things get really exciting: an AI agent that doesn't just follow instructions, but actually improves its own trading ideas iteration by iteration. Yeah, so basically here you can see a spreadsheet with all the results. And I just told agent to write everything itself and test, improve itself just while I was sleeping. So I woke up and everything was ready. And the best thing is that the best strategy returned nearly 30% yearly returns, and another strategy had almost 82% win rate. I didn't write a single line of code. I just wrote instructions for an agent on what it should do. So firstly, let's discuss quickly what is OpenClaw. It's basically an agent that you can program yourself to do whatever you like. So basic examples are: it can summarize your email, be your personal assistant. You can use some custom skills, like for example, this time I made a custom skills that writes and tests trading strategies. You can download it using this single command, and then you can use it in Telegram or WhatsApp, or you can use it like this locally in your web browser. So here is an example of dialogue that I had, and you can choose model that it will use, skills, agents, like you can customize it, and there's really a lot to learn, but we didn't use some advanced coding here. We only enabled one custom skill. I will tell you how to create it just in a few minutes. Now I want to tell you how I actually created this trading agent. So as I said already, it's a skill, trading skill. So how I created it, you can see I've opened my .openclaw folder, and here you can see skills folder, and here's a file, Freqtrade backtest.md. It's kind of a settings file for my custom skill that I wrote. Here you can see it. It's in a readable format. Let's quickly check it. So firstly, it's a purpose. It's a quick description of our skill. Then some constants, some file paths that agent uses. Next, you can see that we are testing 3 markets: crypto market, stocks, and futures, time frames that we use, and commands that we need to run. Then step by step, here you can see what we are doing. So we are selecting our parameters for a strategy, then we run it, we get our results as I showed you, then we get the most important out of this, and then some analysis, summarization, then some evaluation, and we write it to a CSV file. That looks quite nice. So you may think that I wrote it myself with just typing, but I actually used Claude Code to write this agent. So I just described the general idea in English, and it did everything itself. So here you can see that I stated some issue, and it started running, fixing itself. So I actually just came up with the idea, then tested it, then Claude Code saw some errors and fixed it until no errors happened. So I had a working agent within like 10 prompts. And here's agent prompt. So it's actually just a continuation of the first thing I showed you. With this prompt, we actually call our trading agent. So it's basically also some configurations. Looks quite similar, but here we are more strict with what strategy types we use, so we will discuss what it means later, but it's some baseline strategies. Then there are some rules for each strategy because it writes code itself, so we need to be consistent. Then we describe our loop, so we actually want our agent to improve on each run. So it's actually write a strategy, test it, improve, test it again, improve until we get a nice score, and then we come up with a new strategy and repeat it. So this is how we tested 100 strategies. Some strict iteration rules, how we get our results in the final table, and how we summarize. After all rules are established, we say start now. Now I will show you what is Freqtrade and how to actually execute backtesting. So once again, here is the code of our trading strategy. Here we describe our logic. We also have some configuration files, and using this terminal command we can run backtests. So we say that we are using crypto market, what time frame we use, what strategy, and on what time we simulate it. So let's run this command and see what happens. Here you can see some warnings. It's okay, and it's calculated, so it simulated our profits. You can see a huge table of results. It's our ticket. So for example, Theta USDT pair had 100% win rate, but only one trade. That's all just an example. So here you can see a lot of statistics, but we are mostly interested in just two. Firstly, it's Sharpe ratio. Here it is negative, which is actually quite bad, and total profit. So with initial capital of $10,000, we lost $130. So that's not a really good strategy, but it was just an example. And as I've already said, later OpenClaw agent will write all the code and do all the testing itself. Now let me tell you why this actually matters. Right now you can see an example of trading strategy that I used to write manually. So it was quite hard. It took several days or even weeks. You can see there's like 600 lines of code written manually or using LLM, but still it was quite time consuming. And right now I literally had 100 strategies like that written in just one night, and what's even more important, they were automatically tested and improved. So what I used to do in like 10 days, sometimes a week, was done in 5 minutes basically. Now let me tell you about the best part about using OpenClaw agent, and it's not even that it writes strategies itself, but here you can see in these example strategies you have a list of parameters, and you can see each parameter has a default value, and I want to test, for example, with default of 20 but with values from 7 to 80. So every time I needed to change it manually or using hyperparameter optimization to find optimal parameters, tweak them, change some logic a little bit. It all took quite a lot of time, but this time agent does it for me, so basically it saves me a ton of time. Now let's check results for a demo strategy. So I will type you can see it's working. It uses some tokens, so it wrote some code. We accept everything. It runs according to logic that we described. You can see here command that we told it to use. You can see it's already executed some backtesting, so it's preparing results. Yeah, so here we get our results. They're negative, and it has some feedback what to improve. So if it was actual agent run, then it will improve later. Yeah, so you can see it already proposes some suggestions to make it better, but I won't show it now because it will take too much time. But later it will do this repetition of improvement for many times. Now let me show you how the entire pipeline worked on example of one exact strategy, how it improved itself, how it tested, corrected results, and what actually happened. So let's review everything step by step. First we have .openclaw folder, and here we can see our skill backtester. So I only have one skill that I created. Here it is. It's just instructions on how to run. Then prompt that was used to run agent. And then After executing this prompt, he came up with this Python script. So he wrote a script itself to run everything autonomously. I didn't write a single line of code. It's all created by an agent. And an example with just one strategy is here. So it's momentum strategy 6. I had a total of about 10 momentum strategies. It's number 6. So firstly, pre-generation reasoning. Here it plans out what he will do, how he will evaluate results, how to improve. Then first backtesting attempt. You can see logs with some parameters for each profit, each trade. Then it analyzes these results. Then he retries it in the second attempt. Once again, we had an improvement. It analyzed why it worked, so here you can see it wrote comments like final verdict accepted, and you can see here for our momentum breakouts on high liquidity instruments. So he analyzed the outputs, then he created a table with final results and came up with the next strategy momentum number 7. I don't know, that looks very impressive to me. And another idea that I had to make our agent work better, I found this website where somebody collects different Freqtrade strategies, and you can see it tests it here. So it has many different strategies and its results from best to worst. So I just downloaded it and I told agent to use them as an inspiration for the strategies that it will write itself. So basically I can be sure that the strategies that it writes are not some bullshit strategies, and they are actually based on something that is tested and verified. Now let's see in more details the parameters that I set to this agent. So once again, as a template for the command to run for each strategy. So it's like strategy name, market, folder, time frame, time range. So it's all configurable. Next, what types of strategies to test? Momentum strategies, it's like most basic strategies. Trend following, well, you can guess what they do from their name. Mean reversion, breakout, Fibonacci, DCA, volume-based, multi-timeframe, combined, and optimized. So we once again take inspiration from a strategy that was in an archive, and then using our previous experience, we write a new one, test it, and improve it. Here are some parameters that we want, so like stop loss and our main logic. We take one community strategy, write it to a file, backtest it, take our key metrics, we score it, and based on how this strategy performed, so we don't want it to iterate too many times and we don't want it to be bad, we continue running them across all time frames and markets until we get the best result. Iteration rules, so actually we just want our score to be high and we don't want to waste a lot of time. So we had a total of 800 backtests and it took like 8 hours, so it all happened while I was asleep, so it was perfectly timed so that I just woke up and saw the final results table. Yeah, and once again, after we finalize how we output our results, we tell our agent to start and go to sleep. Now let's analyze our final results. So once again, we have this giant spreadsheet, but it's unreadable. So I told my agent to summarize it. So here you can see what markets and time frames and time ranges we tested. Then we have our table related to our momentum strategies. So you can see that top 10 strategies are all momentum. It seems that our agent came up with the most clever ideas using momentum strategies, and here our best profits are about 30%, so it's quite impressive. Here on 4 hours time frame on crypto market we had the highest score, and it's actually quite impressive. Yeah, and here you can see the results based on markets, so some other statistics, some worst strategies, they're mostly DCA and mean reversion, some key findings. It all looks quite interesting, you can read it now. And let's go to the more exact results, so let's check our best performing strategy. And here you can see the visualization of our best strategy, so it's Bitcoin for our time frame. You can see we enter long trades here on triangles and exit here on squares. And most of the time our strategy correctly predicts. So we close trades with profit everywhere nearly. except for a few times. It's quite impressive. Yeah, so to sum up, we've created quite a strong instrument to research strategies, to test our ideas while we are actually asleep or doing some other work. So you can see it even performed some analysis like best strategy per type, some insights, worst strategies, and of course recommendation, use as a research candidate. So I would recommend, if you tried to do something like this at home, don't put your real money instantly to this bot, but rather find some useful ideas to later improve them, test them yourself, be more careful, and then maybe you will reach some nice profits using OpenClaw agent.